You are looking at my first round of alternate card ideas from the May 2024 Paper Pumpkin Kit, the best there is. This is a fabulous kit. My name is Melinda Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and you can find more information about the projects that I create on my blog at www.stampingwithhart.blogspot.com. I also have a free project sheet for you today. If you're interested in getting the measurements on how to make these cards, as well as the additional products that I added along with the paper pumpkin kit pieces for May. So yeah, let's talk about this for just a quick second. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. I do alternate paper pumpkin ideas every month. Today is Tuesday, May 21st, 2024, and we have free shipping today on orders over 75 or more in the online store. So if you're planning on placing any orders, I highly recommend a free shipping day, as long as it's a qualifying order of 75 or more. It's today only. It will end at 1:59 a.m. Eastern time. Now, what we're looking at here are the paper pumpkin kit elements from the May kit. So this is the stamp set that you see. Misty Moonlight is the Stampin' Spot. We have a lot of die cut pieces here, some layering pieces from the kit here. Really beautiful. This is great for nature lovers, neutral themes, masculine themes, Father's Day. There's a lot that you can do with this. The original kit makes 9 cards. Look at these envelopes. I mean, are they absolutely fabulous? So what you're looking at there with the instruction sheet are what the original paper pumpkin design cards look like. Today's video is going to be specifically about alternate card ideas. So I will be doing my own thing with the paper pumpkin kit pieces today. So some people like to stay really close to the kit. I'm going to be adding additional products today, including the Thanks and Beyond dies. That is an add-on that you can get to coordinate with the paper pumpkin kit. Was what I was just trying to say. And then also what I'm doing here, and I did speed this up. This is a little bit faster. I'll slow it down for other parts of the video, but it's a pretty slow process when I'm doing this. But what I'm doing is I am stamping the coordinating colors. So this is for a visual reference for me, and I believe it could be a really helpful tool for all of you too, just in case you might not have the time to sit and do this. So I wanted to sit down and do this. The first color is Pool Party. The second color is Wild Wheat. That third color there is Misty Moonlight, and that is the Stampin' Spot color in this month's kit. So that's sort of the hero color of the kit. Basic Beige is next, and my Basic Beige is super inky. It's brand new. Here is Crumb Cake, and then our last one is going to be Early Espresso, and I cannot tell you how helpful this is. So if you are somebody who likes making the paper pumpkin kit cards exactly as they've been designed, following those instructions, do that. That's totally fine. For those of us who like to play around with the kit and maybe experiment, if you ever have trouble getting the creative juices flowing, try making a color chart. Try making a coordinating color chart. You don't have to stamp every stamp, but grab the stamps that really stand out to you, the ones that you like the best. If you can look at those in multiple colors, it's really going to help you just kind of get those ideas flowing. I can't recommend that enough. I often say that in my alternate videos, but it's true. And then in addition to the coordinating colors that are listed in the paper pumpkin kit, I will sometimes bring in additional colors, and that is what I'm doing here. I wanted a color chart of greens, and I grabbed 3 greens, and then I ended up changing my mind about the last one. But the 2 greens that I stuck with for the kit this time around were Garden Green and Old Olive. Okay, and then the other thing that I do want to shout out here is that if you have the Country Woods Designer Series paper, that's the paper pack that you're looking at right here. The May Paper Pumpkin Kit coordinates very, very closely with this paper. As a matter of fact, that top sheet is the same pattern as, one of the card bases in the kit. So I just wanted to reiterate here that the coordinating colors are the same. So they're the same on this designer series paper as they are in the paper pumpkin kit. As a matter of fact, the Country Woods designer series paper actually has more of the colors listed. So if you want to incorporate some of those grays, we have those grays in there. I'm going to just go through the patterns really quickly so that you can get a feel for this. Because this is a free shipping day, if you are shopping today, I cannot recommend enough some of our coordinating products for some of our paper pumpkin kits, whether or not you're picking up the Country Woods Designer Series paper so that you can extend the life of your May paper pumpkin kit. The refill for the May paper pumpkin kit is available today, by the way, as well. So if you want to get refills for your paper pumpkin kit, you can do that. So as of May 21st, those are available. And I would say run, don't walk, because I did ask in one of the demonstrator groups what people thought of this month's kit, and everybody's going crazy for it. But on free shipping days, if you take a look at our paper pumpkin section in the online store, there's a lot in there right now in terms of refills and past kits, and they are fabulous. So just wanted to shout that out. And for those people who are participating in my In Color Club, I have emails going out today just reminding you, letting you know I opened up my June orders early in my order list. If, it's like a suggestions list, as long as you spend 50 or more from today to June 10th, you will get the In Color class for June, which is going to be Pretty in Pink. And I will have a bonus class for people who spend 100 or more between now and June 10th, and you will get the Lily Pond Lane class in addition to that. I just didn't want anybody to miss out on the opportunity for free shipping. So if you have any questions, just send me an email, stampingwithhart@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can go ahead and place your order in the online store with me listed as your demonstrator, and it'll be based on the order total. You do not need to worry about host codes for me anymore, okay? And if you're not already on my email list, I will have a link in the description box below. If you get on my email list, that's the first place where all of this information goes out, especially regarding In Color Club. Okay, so the Encircled in Nature stamp set is going to be one of the additional products that I am going to be incorporating for my alternate cards today. Now, Encircled in Nature is both a stamp set or a bundle. It is an online exclusive product, so you can find it in the online store. Its nature themes are so perfect with this. Now, I didn't get the dies for Encircled with Nature for whatever reason. I just got the stamp set. I don't remember why. Sometimes when I order, I don't I don't realize that I missed something until I get it, or I'll always tell myself I'm going to go back and order it, and then I order something else. So it's just one of those things. But this I did have the Grove dies on hand, and so I am using those. Grassy Grove was a bundle in a previous catalog. Now, if you want to look up the dies that has this particular scene, they did carry over, and they are in the new catalog as Grove dies. But I am also going to shout out In the Grove. Okay, so there is something called In the Grove bundle on page 70 of our 2024-2025 annual catalog. It has a similar feel to it, but a different scene. So whether or not you're using the Grove dies like I am, just because I had them here, and this is Thanks and Beyond die, by the way, while I am chatting up in here. But yeah, so I just wanted to recommend that one because if you have that bundle, I do not have that bundle yet. It is on my list, but wow, would that be absolutely amazing with this month's kit as well. I know that some people are also considering using using Loveliest Tree with this, paper pumpkin kit if you're looking to do alternates with some coordinating products. And the Loveliest Tree bundle is on page 71 of our 2024-2025 annual catalog from Stampin' Up as well. Now, as you can see, I am really in die cutting mode here. I also want to shout out the Everyday Details dies, which I feel like those are really, really great if you do need something that is gender neutral, or if you are looking for something that's like almost like a staple piece or pattern. It's not particularly feminine or fancy or frilly. It could interchange and work just as well with more of like the floral pieces as it could with, patterns, or in the case of what we're working in here, a masculine or nature themed set. So I did use the Everyday Details dies, which is an online exclusive die set that I believe that that's also a bundle, but I don't think I have the stamps. But the Everyday Details dies, you can find those in the online store. I will also have them listed on the free project sheet. And I'm just taking this little piece from my Take Your Pick tool and just popping out those little extra pieces there. It's a lot of detail and it does require just a little bit of poking, but I promise you it is so worth it for the finished project. And you're not messing with the the card base that I cut up from the kit, so you still fully see that wood grain pattern, which we really want to keep the essence of for the alternate cards that we're going to be making today. Now, a go-to thing with photopolymer stamps, when I first pull them out of the case, I will just put the whole thing over to see, like, when I'm eyeball sizing it, just to see if it's going to fit in that circle, and it does. But, those two things don't necessarily go together, so I just wanted to double check myself. And I apologize for this cord hanging down in the video. I do not know how I didn't notice that. It's just going to be there briefly, but this is the it's like a branch, like a circle branch stamp. You'll see it when we stamp it. We're going to stamp it in early espresso ink. I had to find a block to go with it because it's a sizable stamp. It's a little bit bigger. But I absolutely loved the look of this. I thought that this was so cool. And there's no doubt, and this was the other thing. So I was trying to decide, did I want to do both or did I just want to do one or the other? So you'll see how this comes out in just a minute, but it's so funny. I've been watching videos and there is this English guy and he keeps saying, have a play, his name's Craig, have a play, have a play. And I love when he says that because I'm always on my alternates, videos saying to you, just start stamping, just play around and just stamp and just see what you think of it. But what a perfect fit that is. So that nests actually right inside that Every Details circle die really beautifully. And then I just started, playing with this and seeing, should I turn it around? Should I have the open, part of the branch at the top or the bottom? Ultimately, I don't really think that it mattered, but I did decide to stamp this, it's like a rounded tree scene. I did decide to stamp this in Misty Moonlight. When I'm stamping any sort of like a tree scene or tree patterns, I really like to stamp it in green. But I thought to myself, let me, step outside of the box. Let me go with the designs that the Paper Pumpkin team had in mind because they had stamped the trees in Misty Moonlight ink. It's a different tree stamp that we'll be working with here in a couple of minutes from the Paper Pumpkin kit. But my Misty Moonlight ink pad needs to be re-inked. I have the older ink pad there, and then I just grab my Stampin' Spot from this month's kit because that's nice and inky and juicy, and I use that one instead. So as you can see, that rounded tree scene from the Encircled and Natured stamp set, it just fits like a glove inside of that. That's one of the, testaments to the artists and the designers who make these things. That's the Happy Father's Day stamp from the Paper Pumpkin kit for May. This is the You're the Best There Is stamp. And I was just eyeballing which one I thought would fit better in that open space. That layer that is behind the blue layer is another card base from the kit. It's the, I think it's the crumb cake one. So you can, just use your regular cardstock, or you could back it on white. But I really did want to try to keep like a beige or a brown base for the majority of the cards, just because of the theme of the Paper Pumpkin kit. You could do whatever you prefer. And if you remove the blue layer, doesn't that just look cool on its own, right? I mean, you could have a lot of fun with this. So whether or not you want to keep it really simple, that would be simple stamping if you just did the crumb cake layer. But we're of course going to, I'm a kitchen sink crafter type of person where I have to just layer and layer and layer. I just do. So I decided to put some mini dimensionals to give this some stability all along the pattern. And then I put other dimensionals along this as well, just so that it would hold. I didn't want it to cave in. I wanted it to have some dimension, but I also still wanted you to fully be able to see inside that circle, so that that's like the centerpiece of the card. That's the focus of the card. So if you're wondering, like, why is she putting 800 dimensionals on here? I always overdo it with dimensionals. You do not have to use this many. I just can't help myself. I don't know why, but I have lots and lots of them, and I sure do use them. And if you use them, leave me a comment and let me know. Do you like to have a generous amount of dimensionals or foam adhesive, or do you use it sparingly? I would love to hear, your thoughts on that too. Okay, and then this is part of Melinda's sort of messy design process. So when I die cut a bunch of stuff at the same time and those pieces are laying around on my table, I tend to jump back and forth as I'm designing. So once I got that circle, like the stamping and stuff in place, I just kind of set that one aside. And then I'm coming to the other one that I just cut with the Grove dies. Now, this is the tree. It's like a duo of trees stamp from the May Paper Pumpkin kit. And for those of you who've been following my channel for a while, you're going to recognize this technique. This was a really popular technique, and I was happy to use it again for today's alternate cards. So basically what we're doing is we're creating a tree texture, sort of like a naturey scene texture with the tree stamp set. We're just doing this in repeat over and over again. I really liked having the crumb cake base on this because you can see, the garden green that I'm stamping here is not completely opaque. It depends on how many times you want to stamp and layer. You could do, cut this just in solid green if you want, but I really like creating this stamp texture, and I got so much feedback from that from you guys. I've done this technique several times now because it is something that you have all told me that you really like, and I do have new people watching all the time. So if you haven't already seen this technique, I highly recommend it. Just grab a tree stamp. The one from the Paper Pumpkin kit is perfectly fine. You can do this in, one or two tones. What I discovered as I was stamping this was that the second tone wasn't really showing up as well. It wasn't really necessary because we had the crumb cake base, which gave a really nice contrast, I thought. So it's up to you. You could do a brighter green, a deeper green, and you know how in nature it's just sort of layers and different tones of green. Okay, and so this is the deepest brown tone that we have in the Stampin' Blends. This is from the Deep Combo Pack of the Natural Tone Stampin' Blends. I'll have it listed on the project sheet. I'll also have it listed on my blog. Because I have been using Early Espresso and a really deep brown all throughout, I wanted to continue that, but you do not have to do this. This is like an optional step because the crumb cake base, the tree trunk trunks would have been perfectly fine. Okay. But for me, there are just certain, details and things that I like to try to incorporate and use. And I feel like this really, number one, there's a lot of contrast, but it really stands out. So this was a really cool card, the way that this came together. And the funny thing is even if you don't want to do the stamping, and even if you don't want to color with the blends, even if you just cut out the tree scene and left it in the crumb cake base, that would also be fabulous. I am grabbing one of my blending brushes. This is the regular size blending brush. We also have it in small, and I'm just inking it up with my Misty Moonlight, dabbing it off on some scrap paper. And then we're just going to add the softest layer. It depends on how much patience you have with this. I really just wanted a hint of blue because I still wanted white. I still wanted a white background for when I stamped my greeting on here, but I wanted there to be some sort of a hint of a misty moonlight sky. Okay. And then again, I'm just bringing in those stamps to see which one is a good fit. Honestly, they all fit well here. If you have the Grove dies, they fit nicely, regardless of which one that you choose. I ended up going with the wordy one, which is very sweet. Here it is, with love and admiration to the most amazing person. So I did stamp that in early espresso, and then I was missing just a little part of the H, so I just dabbed it in with the Stampin' Blend, which is a classic move for me. But for the most part, these were stamping really beautiful for me. And for whatever reason, I kept gravitating towards early espresso all throughout. So even though Misty Moonlight was the, star of the show in color for the kit, I ended up using early espresso probably more than any other color here. The other thing is I felt like it was hard to see that H and that N, so I just grabbed one of my little white paint pens. It's like a little corrector pen. That it's not a Stampin' Up product, but I couldn't resist just fixing that really quickly. And then I'm just, getting that nice and crisp with my bone folder. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our dimensionals here to the scene. Again, if you are a shaker card person, oh my goodness, how absolutely incredible would this be as a shaker card, with the foam adhesive strips and the window sheets. So you could have a lot of fun with that as well. Okay, and then on the inside of this card, I just decided to stamp the Happy Father's Day directly onto the card base, but you could certainly do a layer if you want to. I also think that that little tree duo stamp would be great on the inside of the card here as well, or frankly, any of the stamps from Encircled with Nature or any of your nature theme stamp sets. Now, I couldn't resist adding some embellishments. Okay, it is so hard for me not to add embellishments to a card. I get that it's a masculine card, okay? I understand. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with using a little bit of some matte bronze looking sequins. These might actually be darker. Actually, I would say that they're darker than bronze, but they went well. That's all I have to say about it. But I loved it. I used a lot of them. I do not regret it. And you could do whatever you feel is best. I need something. I need twine. I need ribbon. I did really resist using gems, and I will tell you just right now, for anybody who's still hanging in here with me in this video, those are the Grove dies, by the way. And there were 2 silhouette deer dies. These are independent. You don't have to have a coordinating stamp for these. And I thought, I have to add these. I have to incorporate these into the scene. I thought it would be so beautiful, and I am so glad that I did it. So I ended up cutting those in early espresso cardstock. I die cut those. You guys get the idea with the die cutting. It can be really time consuming with the die cutting, so I just cut them off screen. Now, probably my most unexpected and loved part of alternates from this round of alternate cards anyway, was adding in these little bits of Misty Moonlight with my blending brush. So I would recommend, if you are starting to explore with your paper pumpkin kits, consider getting a set of blending brushes. They come in a pack of 3. You could either do the larger brush like I'm doing here, which is more of a softer overall look, or you could do the smaller blending brushes, which are a little more concentrated. And it just added, to me, it just really added a little bit more dimension to it. Sort of separated out the forest, I think is what I'm trying to say. So I felt like there was a lot of just warm beige space. And so once I added in that blending with the Misty Moonlight ink, and once I added in our little deer silhouette here with our adhesive dots from the kit, the adhesive dots are, I believe, not as well used as they could be, but they're so helpful. I adore them, and they were nice and large in this month's kit. But anyway, that's what I'm securing our little silhouette deer with in this. But I loved the way that the blending brush and the Misty Moonlight ink just added a softness to the nature scene card, how it just created a little bit more depth to our forest here in this card. And I actually add a little bit of shading to another card that I have coming up here shortly, but it could be a really nice addition, like a nice tool addition. And if you're not ready to get the blending brushes, we do have the little sponge daubers. It's a set of 5. It goes right onto your fingertip. It's a little bit smaller, but you can get the same look. One of the reasons why I like that big blending brush is because it's very soft. Now here I am making a basic beige, technically I'm making 2 basic beige card bases, and we are going to use one of these as the card base for this card. What I should have done was just kept the card base intact from the kit, but I had cut it up into pieces. So don't feel like you need to back it onto your own, regular card. You could just use the basic, the crumb cake card base from your kit and then use this layer over top, right? So for me, I ended up making my own card base because sometimes when I'm in the thick of it, I'm not thinking, and it would have been so much simpler to do that. So, learn from me. But this is one of our alternate cards. I absolutely loved it. I would put a basic white insert inside there as well, just 4 by 5 1/4 is like my usual size, but that'll all be listed in the project sheet as well. Okay, and so for our next round of cards, we are going to, I think these are focusing on the backfold cards. So I couldn't resist making some backfold cards. Ever since I learned this fun fold, I've used it so many times just because it's so simple. So I'm using Basic Beige again. Basic Beige was a favorite in terms of adding some color in some pieces to go along with this paper pumpkin kit. So I will have all of the measurements for the backfold on my blog and on the free project sheet. But for anybody who just wants the measurements really quickly here, this is a 5.5 by 7.5 card base is what you're looking for. And then you're going to score at 3 1/4. And then you're going to score again at 6.5. You're going to fold the first flap forward and the smaller flap backwards. And then we add a fun fold element with a die cut. Very, very, very simple. But if you like to have those directions, you'll have them on the project sheet. I'll post it onto Pinterest as well. But these were cut in Pool Party. So Pool Party is one of the coordinating colors. And even though I was working with a lot of nature tones, I was working with beige and crumb cake and early espresso and misty moonlight and garden green, right? I thought, let me do some of the softer, more sort of pastel colors as well, because when you look inside that designer series paper pack, it's a beautiful combination. So I thought I want to do some of that too. I want to add a little bit of color, a little bit of softness. Like I want to have that option and play with that as well. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm cutting these down into 3-inch strips and then by 5¼ inches, because these are going to end up decorating the fronts of our backfold cards as a layer. I also recommend cutting basic white in 3 by 5¼ inch for the inserts of your card. Now, the die cut that you're seeing here is the die cut from the Thanks and Beyond Dies add-on. The Thanks and Beyond Dies add-on, I believe, is still available. I think the girl from Paper Pumpkin, the Paper Pumpkin team, said that it was limited quantities, but I'm not sure. On a free shipping day, I always like to shout out the add-ons, because this add-on, I believe, is only $12 for 4 dies, and you can see how useful the dies are. Now, I'm stamping the two trees in Pool Party ink, and as soon as I did it, I thought to myself, I wish it was softer than that, because I really wanted the the sentiment to really stand out more. So I did it again. And this time I stamped off one time before I stamped onto the die cut. And you can see me getting messy and ink everywhere. And I got a little blotch on one of my, I'll just flip it over and use the other side, but I just kind of threw it aside and grabbed another one. It never hurts to cut a bunch of your die cuts ahead of time, just in case anything like that ever happens. But I loved stamping off once and then seeing the Pool Party much softer, where you can see those trees in the background. But the foreground, being the sentiment, was the more important thing for me. So it's just a nice, easy design element to do. And, one of the things that I'm always saying every alternate video with Paper Pumpkin is that when you're doing the Paper Pumpkin design cards, they are beautiful as they are, and there's very limited stamping. And that's by design, because if you've never picked up a card and made a card in your life, you can do it very simply with a Paper Pumpkin kit, and you don't have to be intimidated with stamping. So they only have you stamp, 1 or 2 stamps. But for me, I like to use as many of the stamps as possible, or give ideas as to how you could use as many of the stamps as possible, so that you can really maximize the use of, the pieces that you're going to be keeping from your kit. So once those consumable pieces are gone, you're still going to have your stamp set, but we don't always have a lot of ideas from the Paper Pumpkin team as to how to use every single stamp in the kit multiple ways. So that is one of the things that I try to do with my my Paper Pumpkin alternates. So with this backfold, what you do is you're going to take whatever die cut you choose. You're going to put the adhesive only on the one side of it, so that it goes onto the folding piece. So that 1-inch fold back piece, the glue is only going to go on that side of your die cut, and then that holds your card closed. So essentially that's how you make your backfold. So it's actually really simple, really easy, really simple. Now here is the basic beige backfold, and we're going to be incorporating a little bit more of that Pool Party. This is that Country Woods Designer Series paper. And what I'm doing here is I'm just going through the kit elements and seeing, do I want to mix and match any of these? The thing that stopped me with the darker tone wood was that the wood grain was going in a different direction than the one I just put down, the panel I just put down. And so I was like, I don't think I want to do that. So I actually just stuck with Pool Party, even though it's 2 different patterns, and you'll see what I do with that in just a minute. But you can get your layout there. I would recommend cutting that thinner DSP strip to like 7/8 instead of 1 inch, because it's a really tight fit at 1 inch. And then I trimmed it to 5¼ but you could do, longer if you want to. Okay, and so for the next part of the design element for this card, I cut the Thanks die from the Thanks and Beyond dies out of that darkest wood tone card base. So I cut the card base in half, and I basically just cut Thanks out, I think it was 6 times. So we'll have our lineup here on the card in just a minute. I am somebody who really, really loves repeat patterns. And sometimes I like the repeat pattern to be a word. I actually did this recently. So I'm definitely in a certain design mode where I keep kind of doing the same things over and over again. but I just like the look of it. So we are going to glue this thanks down. And what I'm going to say just super quick, if you have the adhesive sheets, right? If you know, would consider yourself an intermediate crafter, or you have lots of product and you have the adhesive sheets, use those, because it's going to make it so much easier to just turn the thanks into a sticker than to do all of the gluing. That was my leftover piece with the pool party trees that were stamped in full color. And I thought about using that on this card, and then I changed my mind. So, you know, it's up to you. Now, I did not use the adhesive sheets for my thanks die cuts, because I need to put a Post-it on my face. I'm going to take a picture of myself doing that. But I always forget. I really truly do. I always forget. And I have put them in different spots in my craft room, and it's just not in a convenient place. So I need to keep figuring that out. So I stamped Happy Father's Day for the insert that's going to go inside the card. And again, I used early espresso because that seems to be the theme of the day here. I just can't help myself when it comes to the nature theme things. This is my multi-purpose glue. Multi-purpose glue does not come in the paper pumpkin kit. It does come with the adhesive dots and the dimensionals. So if you look at the directions that paper pumpkin gives you, it's visual directions, and you'll see those little dots, and that represents the adhesive dots, which you could absolutely use. But when I'm using alternates, I would always recommend multi-purpose glue if you have it, you know, or a tape runner. I would also recommend having your paper snip scissors. And if you love die cutting like me, or you're starting to get into die cutting, I would recommend our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which we have a full size and we have a mini. If you're cutting smaller dies like this, the mini is fine. If you're going to cut large dies like the Grove die that I just cut, that's when you're going to get it, you know, going to want to get into the full size machine. The thanks die, Thanks and Beyond dies will fit in your mini just fine. And, you know, again, that's by design, so that for those of us who are just in that beginning stage and we're getting our paper pumpkin kits and we're learning how to make our cards that way, you know, it's a step in the right direction. And then when you start to build on your craft room, you might want to start with the mini before you commit to getting the full machine. But for those of us who are in full swing, and when we get our paper pumpkin kits, we're immediately going to the alternate ideas and we're incorporating other products that we have in our craft room, then, you know, that's when we're getting into the full machine and adhesive sheets and all of the fun little extra products and pieces that we keep in our craft room, right? So now I am actually going to stamp the trees in basic beige. And again, I was like, oh, let me stamp off and see how this looks, right? And it was too late. So I felt like they weren't showing up at all. It was like a really, really pale shadow. So I decided to do basic beige trees in full color. So this is why we play, right? This is why we experiment. If you ever make a mistake on one of your die cuts, just flip it over to the other side. And then I am stamping the, you know, You're the Best There Is stamp right over the trees. I loved the look. I absolutely loved the look. Now, this is another stamp that came inside the May Paper Pumpkin Kit. This is, it's like a dotted pattern almost. Looks like a screen in a way. And what I wanted to do was, I really wanted to add more color. Now, in hindsight, I would have used crumb cake instead of early espresso. I think maybe early espresso was too dark, but as I started to stamp off once and then build that pattern, because I was building a pattern here, I liked it better. So again, this is one of those things where you can leave it alone. You don't have to stamp a pattern on here at all. I wanted there to be like a consistent pattern, and I wanted it to be a little bit more busy than the other side, which has so much pool party on it, right? I didn't want the whole thing to just be pool party, so that was why I did that. But our little fun fold that we're going to add here, our little sentiment and die cut, really helps to break that up, and I really like the look of the card overall. But if I had it to do again, and again, we're just putting that adhesive on the side that's going to go on the back fold element there. See how that opens and closes? There you go. If I had to do it over again, I would have gone with crumb cake, or maybe even basic beige, but probably crumb cake so that I'd have some brown in there. But you can decide, whatever you think. But that's it for that fun fold. I love the way that they turned out. Oh, dappled dots. Okay, so dappled dots adhesive dots, or the dappled dots, come in 3 colors, and the top color is a great match for this month's Paper Pumpkin kit. And because it has sort of that like cracked egg look to it, or like a crackled paint look to it, it is perfect for the May Paper Pumpkin kit. So it's like not one of those things that I would say would stand out. But once you start pairing it, you're like, this is fabulous because it's not a gem. It's not super shiny or shimmery, right? And it has a little bit more of like a nature or a masculine tone to it. So consider your, using your dappled dots in, I believe that color is gray granite. I would have to go back and look at the pack. The other 2 colors are in colors there. You could even have probably done the peach, but I like the neutral one with these. So those are our back folds there. And then we're going to finish up with another element from the kit. Okay, so I must have missed recording a piece of this, but basically we're taking one of those basic beige card bases that I cut previously. It's a standard size 5.5 by 8.5, score to 4 1/4. And now I'm taking the full size layer from the Paper Pumpkin kit, that wooden pattern layer, and I tied a piece of basic beige ribbon. This is the 3/8 inch bordered ribbon in basic beige. I just tied it so that my knot will be on the end, so on the far right, so that I could fit my circle in there. We're going to do a shadow layer with the thanks die. So I cut it once in that wood grain tone and then once in basic white. And we're just going to, do a quick shadow layer. We're just going to glue those together. We're going to pop our circle up on dimensionals here. This circle is from the Everyday Details die. This was the piece that we had actually cut out from the other card. It was the leftover piece from our earlier alternate card. And then, like I said, I just frayed the ends of that ribbon. At least I think I said it. And before we end this video, I want to tell you how you can get subscribed to the June Paper Pumpkin kit. The June Paper Pumpkin kit is going to be called Life is Sweet. It is going to feature the 2024-2026 in color collection, which we have been working with a lot over the past couple of months. I will be incorporating it, or elements of it, into my in color club in the next couple of months here. So one thing to keep in mind, just be sure that you are subscribed by June 10th. If you need information on how to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, you can go to paperpumpkin.com and you can just choose me, Melinda Hart, as your demonstrator. I would love to earn your business if you do not already have a demonstrator and you're interested in getting started with the Paper Pumpkin kits. For those of you who are Paper Pumpkin subscribers but maybe haven't tried prepaid subscriptions, we have prepaid subscriptions for 1, 3, 6, and 12 months, and I'll have information on that in the free project sheet and on the blog as well. So here we are just finishing up with our shadow layer with the thanks die. I really am getting a lot of use out of the dies, the add-on dies from the last 3 months worth of kits. So this set of dies coordinates with the June, May, and April kits, but obviously thanks can be used year-round. That other shape die that I've been using all throughout this video can be used year-round. So I hope that you enjoyed these alternate card ideas. Leave a comment. Let me know which was your favorite, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget about free shipping, May 21st, 2024. All right, one day only. Bye-bye.